Hey guys, it's Wyatt. I'm gonna first apologize for how I sound because I've got a sinus cold right now, but this video is to teach you on how to build a vape coil. This is a basic coil. The difficulty level for this is beginner, so anybody can do this. The materials that you're gonna need are a mod, which preferably one with a screen because it has a built-in ohm reader, which you're going to need for most coil builds. That way you can actually check to see if it's firing correctly or if the coil is built correctly. Then you're going to need your RDA of choice. Mine is a Goon 1.5. That's the name of the RDA. Obviously, mine's a little nerdy, has Joker on it. Next, you're going to need your resistance wire, which I am using Master of Cloud's 24 gauge nichrome. It's what I've always used. Then you will need your, where did I put it? There it is. Your 2mm screwdriver or 2mm drill bit. I'm using a drill bit. Then you will need your appropriate tools for your RDA. They generally come with your RDA. I'm using an Allen key for mine. You will need your tweezers, needle nose pliers for adjusting your coils, you'll also need your wire cutters, scissors. Unfortunately, I cannot actually find my real scissors, so I'm using my Swiss Army knife scissors. Your organic cotton. I actually use Cotton Bacon just because it's the company that I've always used since I started, and I like how it feels. Cotton is easier to use for me. And then the e-juice of your choice. I'm actually using Kraken by Kloster, which is actually a company here in Boone. So, support small businesses. Alright, let's get started. So, first, you're going to need to cut a piece of wire. I actually already did this, about 8 inches long, because generally you're actually going to be using about 4 to 5 inches to make a coil. I say 8 because what I do is I actually fold it in half. So, fold it in half, bend it to where you have a nice, there we go. They're generally about the same size. And then take your wire cutters and snip the bend off, and there you go, 2 pieces of wire. Then you take 1 piece of wire, hold about a half of your thumbnail against it, and then start wrapping. And I'm going to be wrapping 6 times, so 4, 5, 6. And then you're going to need to straighten that piece out. So take your needle nose pliers and straighten it. And to make it easier, take your screwdriver or drill bit and grab hold of the coil real tight and pull on it. And there you go. You got 1 coil right there. And then you repeat. So 2, 3, 4. Ooh. Make sure you don't cross it either. 5, 6. Alright. Then switch it over. Take your needle nose pliers. Straighten it out. And there you go, you got your 2 coils. And now that you've made a coil, what you're going to do is you're going to take your RDA, screw it onto your mod, take the cap off, and we're going to set them in the RDA. So this extra wire that you have, that's actually your guide wire. So you're going to slide that through your build posts, and then until it's about, let's see, where did I? It's about halfway between your wall of the juice well. Oh, there it is. But halfway between the juice well and the build post, that's where you're going to want your coil to be. So with my RDA, it's really easy. What I can do is I can actually tighten the inner sides in so that the coil doesn't move, and I still have the ability to slide my other coil in. So then I take my other coil, slide it in, which this does kind of get difficult if you're, there we go. Just loosen up the screw a little. Okay. And if it doesn't like to move, take your needle nose pliers, grab one of the guide wires, and pull. And if this doesn't like to work, there's a trick to it, but I have it in. That trick, if your coil doesn't like to move, what you can do is you can cut your guide wires from your first coil off first, and then work on your second coil. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. It depends on your build deck. Alright, so now we're going to cut our guide wires. Make sure you do not cut your coil, because as you can see with this coil right here, you can see the guide wires right underneath it, so you got to be careful with that side. But the first side, and this is one of the hazards of building coils, is if you're not careful, the guide wires will actually fly when you cut them with the wire cutters. So you got to be careful with that. A good trick for making sure you don't cut your coil when cutting the guide wires is take your tool that you use to build your coil and pull the coil up, and then cut. And oh crap, this is why I wish I had my better pair of wire cutters, but I can't seem to find them. And yeah, that piece of coil just hit me. Then bend the coil back down and tighten all your screws again just in case, because I actually felt the coil slip a little. Alright, and then as you saw in the beginning, I actually did turn my mod off because it does not have a locking function. So turn the mod back on and then hit the firing button. That smoking is normal. It's just the coils heating up. You can see them heating up fairly nicely. And while they're doing this, you actually want to take your tool and straighten your coils. So like This one right here, it shouldn't be at that angle. So get it red and then straighten it. You do not want to do this while firing because that will actually short the coil and possibly either ruin the mod or you have to build a whole new coil. Then repeat with the other coil. Right, and so they're actually heating up a little nicer, more evenly. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take our needle nose pliers and straighten the coils in another way where they're closer together now, like this one. And then repeat for the other coil. And there you go. 2 great coils. Well, 2 basic coils. And so if you actually look on the screen, you actually see that it's reading at 0.2 ohms. And I'm running on this on 77.7 watts because at 0.2, that's actually generally where you want to run it because that gives it enough heat and wattage to where it's not going to burn your cotton really quickly or short your mod out. After that, what you're going to do is you're going to take your cotton strip. Obviously this will not fit in the coil, so you take a pinch of it and roll one end just to check to make sure that it'll actually fit in your coil. So there we go, fits nice and tight. So what we're going to do is roll this end and then roll this end. And then what I do is I actually fold it in half, slide the scissors in between, and cut it in half so that you have 2 even pieces of cotton for your coils. And each piece has 1 guide, so it makes it easier for sliding it in. And then, so depending on the size of your guide, it'll be either really easy to grip it or you might need your tweezers. But let me actually adjust this down so you can see it better. So now what you're going to do is twist this end a little bit just so it slides in better. And then once it looks even, we're going to go ahead and do it to the other side. And this piece, I might actually need my tweezers. Come on. Nope, never mind. So then do the same thing, twist on this side to guide it through. Don't twist too hard or else your cotton's going to be really tightly bound and won't take the juice as well. Alright, now you've got 2 even pieces. You're going to take your scissors and cut about 1/4 of an inch out from the wall of your juice well so that you have plenty of cotton to actually sit in there. And there we go. So now you can, actually what I normally use is my Allen key because my tweezers like to catch on the cotton. So take your tool, push the cotton in, and then even it out by pushing it out to the sides. And there we go. Now all you got to do is actually juice your cotton. So sometimes this is easier if you have a unicorn bottle instead of a dripper, but unfortunately this juice only comes in a dripper bottle. So then you just juice the cotton, make sure it's nice and soaked. and make sure you don't make a mess. You do want to make sure that your cotton is thoroughly soaked, because otherwise you will be getting a dry cotton taste in your mouth, which is very, what's the word I'm looking for? Other than gross. Unappetizing. Let's just say that. So, juice your cotton well. If you can't, or if you want, you can actually see how your cloud hits. Some people do this to actually make sure the cotton takes better, or the juice takes better. Then run a little bit more juice over it. Set your RDA on. Excuse me, that's the cold. And there you go. Now you've actually built a coil, and perfect for vaping.